Welcome to We're Not Done Yet. Last time I talked about who I used to be, the man I used to be, the one everybody saw, I suppose, the joker, always good for a laugh with a quick one-liner, always messing about, always trying to make other people laugh. The drinker, the one that always got the beers in. You know what, I look back at some old photos the other day and nearly every single one of them is me holding a drink like that, cheers or why do people do that? Why is it necessary to always have a drink in a photo of yourself? Got to ask that question. I mean, who's the photo of, the drink or you? Anyway, life and soul of the party, down the pub, wherever, gatherings, you name it. But there's something, when I look back, I can see now that I couldn't see then. Me being me, doing what I did, my drinking was my problem. I mean, I knew there were times I'd made a complete idiot of myself, made a bit of a spectacle of myself, but I always thought that was my problem. I'm the one with the issue. My choice to do this. It's my health, my life, so leave me alone, just let me get on with it. What I didn't realise then was everyone around me was living it too. So I can't sit here and tell you exactly how it affected them, because I can't. That's their story, not mine. But when I look back now, I can definitely see things I was blind to at the time, things that didn't register with me at all. Strange thing about that is when you live a certain way for that amount of time, doing the same things over and over, just becomes what you do. It becomes normal, but not just for you, for everybody around you. And I definitely think that's what happened in our house. I mean, Dad had a drink, Dad sat in his chair, Dad wasn't interested in going out or going anywhere. Dad was always tired or hungover, just waiting for a chance to have another drink, I suppose. I mean, it wasn't a massive drama every day, just normal. What we all thought was normal. Looking back at it now, that's probably one of the saddest things, really, is everybody around me, everybody just got used to it. I know I certainly did. I thought that because I still went to work, paid the bills, made sure everything was all right, there was a roof over everybody's heads, the kids were fed, everything was all right. But being physically here is different to actually being present, I suppose. I think they're two completely different things. I was there, but I wasn't really there. At least not all the time. A lot of the time my mind was elsewhere, really. I just suppose was just thinking about when can I have a drink? How much can I drink and get away with it? How much can I drink tonight and still go to work tomorrow and function properly? Could I got out of doing what we were supposed to be doing or going so that I could just sit at home and have a drink? If we did go anywhere, could I leave early? Can I find some kind of excuse to just want to go back home and just sit there in my own sad company? I mean, I didn't see it was an issue. I didn't see that as anything other than what I just wanted to do. Looking back now, I can see how selfish, I suppose, that was. Not deliberately selfish, but completely consumed, I suppose, by what was just a routine, a habit. Yeah, routine, that was the routine. My own little need, really, just to escape who I was, how I was feeling. But I look back now, after all this time, I say all this time, 18 months or so at the time I'm recording this, and I think a hell of a lot of my wife. She carried way more than she should have. Way more. I mean, I can't speak for her. Only she can do that. But it's definitely true. I know there were times she was dealing with things and could have probably done with a bit of support, other life things going on, while I sat in the chair with a drink. Not pretending everything's all right, just actually probably just not even being aware there were other things going on. And then there's the boys. We've got 3 boys. I say boys. They're all grown up, finding their own way. And again, I can't speak for them, but I do have to ask myself questions. I have started questioning things now. I'm clearer mind, I suppose, and look philosophically back at things. And I do have to ask, what example was I setting? Because whether you realise it or not, kids are always watching. Always. They're not always listening. We all know that. Kids don't always listen. But they're always watching. Don't get me wrong, things weren't all bad. Things weren't all... I'm not trying to portray myself as being, you know, I was nothing but bad. Because there were good times. We had good holidays, good fun, days out, whatever, you know, football clubs, and even going supporting football and watching the kids play football. Everything was fun. It was fun. But I guess what they saw was a dad who always seemed to have a drink. A dad who spent a lot of years not dealing with other stuff. But when I sit and think about that now, at that time, I didn't think about that. Honestly, I didn't. I was too wrapped up in what was my own little world. My own routine, like I said earlier, it was just a routine. Started as a little, you know, whatever, and then it becomes a routine, then it's the normal, and then it's abnormal, I suppose, when you don't do that. And that's why I called this episode The Damage I Couldn't See. Because genuinely I couldn't see it. Not properly. At that point I never even thought about it. I wasn't waking up every day trying to hurt someone. I wasn't waking up trying to hurt anybody. Maybe sometimes myself. I wasn't trying to be a shit husband, a shit friend, or an even worse father. But I suppose intentions don't really matter if the outcome is the same. The reality of it is the decisions I made, the things that I did, was affecting other people. It simply was. It was affecting everybody that was around me, whether I wanted them to or not. And the biggest mistake I made was convincing myself that because I was the one that had the issue with drink, and I think I knew I had an issue with drink after a time. So convincing myself that even though I had that issue, and I was the one getting little signs that things weren't right, health signs, other little things, I convinced myself I was the one paying the price because it was my issue. But I wasn't. The strange thing is, even with all that going on, which is hard for some people to understand, I still didn't change. There was opportunity. I had opportunity to change, but I still didn't. There were warning signs everywhere. Emotionally, physically. Warning signs. Things that happened. Moments, I suppose you could call them, where I should have stopped. Took a long, hard look at where I was and who I was and where I was heading. But I didn't. There were definitely signs, but I ignored them. I felt them physically. I experienced them emotionally. I knew there were things that had happened, did happen, whilst in a mist of some weird drunken mood, or a fog would be in front of your eyes. That's the only way I could describe it, is sometimes you just walk around in a fog. But you knew something wasn't right, you knew things weren't how they were supposed to be, and you had to change something. Plenty of signs, but I ignored them. And that's what I'm going to talk about next time, I think. The wake-up calls I had, proper wake-up calls I had, but still ignored them. So, until then, look after yourself. Remember, we're not done yet.